Hey, everybody. Welcome to Weeks In, everybody.
Loving it.
Want to give a big shout out to the Weeks In House Band jam session. This is our second week having Ian, the lead guitarist, and we're actually going to introduce Ian here. He's lead guitarist for a new band called Dead Bourgeoisie, which is easy to say but hard to spell, but you can find them on Instagram. And they streamed a live session this week with I think 5 songs coming up.
6 songs, give or take. It's a pretty long live stream, but you can go check it out on Instagram TV.
Give a shout out to Ian. Go check out Dead Bourgeoisie if you're into Nirvana, if you're into alternative. They even do a little rap rock stuff. It's a little bit of everything, and they're experimental, so check them out. Thanks, Ian.
Bravo, Ian. Thank you.
All righty. Well, welcome to Weeks In, everybody. My name's Ryan Boyles. We've got, as always, my partner in crime, Mr. Graham Noseworthy.
That is me. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world.
We have one viewer right now, which I think it's got to be Gary, right? Like, wouldn't you say?
It's Gary. Hold on, I'll check. Hang on just a second. Let me get the Gary phone. Hey, Gary. Yep, it's Graham. You watching? Oh, you're in LA today. Oh wow, that's fancy. All right, cool. Stay tuned, buddy. We'll give you some shout outs. All right, bye-bye. Yeah, that's Gary. He's watching. He's in Los Angeles today.
Awesome.
It's very, very
exciting.
You know what?
I thought we would change things up this week. We've got a few cool topics. You know, we always geek out about nerd stuff.
Yeah, we do. We do. We're good at
that. I wanted to know, and I think our audience demands it. I wanted to know what happened with your Lowe's situation. Did it get resolved?
No, it did not. And let me tell you something. They have lost a customer for life because so it got so much worse past last week. I mean, they just basically lied. I tried to call the store. They kept telling me somebody would call me. No one called me. I reached out to them on social media. They said someone was going to call me. No one called me. They said they were going to help me. Nobody helped me. And then I ended up getting replacement parts, which just arrived 10 minutes ago. They don't work. So now I've got to figure all that out. And it's just one disaster after another. But I mean, after they literally admitted that they lied and that the parts were not available and never were going to be available, and it was clear they just did that to sell me the machines, that was it. I'm done. So my rant of the week is bye-bye, Lowe's.
All right.
We're done.
Well, that was short and sweet.
I've got to get in my zone.
Now I guess you can go back to, Billy Bob and Tim's Ace, or what are you going to do? Like, what's the plan?
Yeah, Billy Bob and Tim's Ace. That's a real thing. I don't know, man. I mean, there's plenty of other choices there. I don't have to go back there. So that's the end of that. But I mean, The thing is like, look, you make a mistake, dude, in retail. It happens all the time. I'm cool. Really. Earlier this week, I got some tires on the truck. The guy placed the order. The order got messed up. He fixed it. No, I don't care. It's fine. No problem. But when you lie and avoid and create problems and keep making it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and provide no options, and I had to spend like hours and hours of my time trying to fix it, I'm done. Goodbye. Too many other options for me to be stuck with people that don't care. So that was the end of that.
Fair enough. Well, let's get into our stories.
And by the way, folks, don't buy any appliances at Lowe's. You don't want to do that.
It's an art form.
It is.
Well, we mentioned Dead Bourgeoisie. This is the 3rd or 4th band my son has been in since he started playing guitar. I want to say 12 years ago. And he's killing it. And since the lockdown, he's a student at UNC Charlotte. He came home in the middle of everything back in March. He's attending virtually from home. So we hear a lot of music around the house when he's not doing classes and homework. But it's allowed him to reconnect with some folks here, around the homestead, and they've formed a new band. So here's their Instagram. Check them out. He's getting started, and they started off with a bang with doing, I think, a bunch of songs in a live broadcast just a couple of days ago. So we wanted to give a shout out there. So let's get into some stories. First, I wanted to talk about my t-shirt. And I wanted to talk about, I'll go to my t-shirt in a second, but this is a place that we've talked about on the show before, but I wanted to show that SuperSeven, this is a really cool store out in, they have a location in, I think, San Diego and San Francisco.
I think that's right.
You and I both have visited there in our travels. It was introduced to us by the illustrious Annbot, the queen of, what is she? She's the mother of startups. She introduced us to this store, but they make a lot of what they call reaction figures, which are taking action figures from back in the day, bringing them back, reproducing them, and producing some unique stuff like this Iron Maiden action figure.
That is crazy looking. I love that.
Pretty badass, right? So I'm going to switch back to full screen because we wanted to announce our first ever Weeks In audience contest. Are you excited about this, Graham?
Oh, okay. I didn't know about this.
So this is a bit of a thing. So we want to hear from you, Gary, and other people. And what we want to do is the first contest is taking my t-shirt, which when Graham and I were in SuperSeven back in San Francisco, I want to say it was May of last year, I got this shirt, and it is basically a bunch of science fiction space vehicles. And I know you can't see all of them. It's super cool, but we're going to post a picture of this in our feeds. And the first Weeks In contest is going to be, we're going to pick somebody who can name all of the films, all of the TV shows, all of the references in the t-shirt. And this is not as easy as you would think.
It's not as easy. I'm looking at it now. There's a couple there that I'm struggling with.
You've got to be a real super nerd, I think, to really get this. And
what's the prize?
The prize, I'm glad you asked. So we have a limited edition fine art collection, 1,000 piece puzzle for Star Wars. And look at this wonderful, wonderful poster art there. Can't really see.
Do I get to compete for this prize?
Well, we'll see.
No.
But here's the bigger picture.
Employees
so it's really
cannot compete.
Really cool stuff. Yeah, employees are ineligible. But yeah, this is from this is nice matte finish. I'm told
very nice.
The puzzle pieces smell of rich mahogany. So it's really a nice prize, and good luck to you.
So you'll post the link. You'll post an image of the shirt, and if people can guess every ship or reference on there at least,
exactly,
and you'll ship out that 1,000-piece mahogany smelling puzzle to them. I like this. This is great.
And look, we know there are some super nerds out there just like us. We know you exist. So if there happens to be folks that are watching that, they are able to, if we have more than one contestant identify every ship, we'll do a drawing. And perfect. This is going to end, and we will announce it on next week's show. So it will end sometime on Thursday afternoon next week.
Fantastic.
So enjoy, folks. So let's switch over. Let's talk about our first story of the day here, Graham. So you brought me a story. Well, you sort of said that there was something that our work from home life is missing here.
So I like this. I thought this was really clever. It's actually getting a lot of attention. So this guy, Cameron Hunter, he created where you use hand gestures to show like comic book style message. I mean, how often is somebody on, are we in a WebEx and someone's like, hey, can everybody hear me? Or does anybody have any questions? Or what do you think? Instead of everybody chiming in, which doesn't work because of the way the audio functions, it's great that he has these hand gestures and it does these certain things. So I also like the goodbye. I also like the fact that when he walks off, it says, I'll be right back. So I just thought that this was a really clever thing. And apparently it's not just clever. You can actually, like, it's real. It works. You can actually download it, install it, and it'll function.
Yeah. You know what I want? I want like live long and prosper, and
Yes.
we could have fun with this.
And the Dune one, there's all kinds of stuff you could do.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
There's lots of fun
I
gestures from all over the world that have different meanings, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, we could, I do think this is something that our work from home life could really benefit from. So yes. All righty. All right. Our second story of the day is going to be around the Challenger, the shuttle. I guess if folks don't know their space history, I mean, this is one of the pivotal things. I want you to talk about what the documentary, or the book. Is it documentary or book? I'm sorry.
It is a documentary produced by J.J. Abrams. It's on Netflix right now called Challenger, The Final Flight. I really recommend people watch it. I mean, for Gen Xers who went through this and were sitting in school when it happened, it's a particularly striking moment for all of us. And in fact, they depict that scene, which I found particularly emotionally triggering. But, I've been a NASA aficionado fan, whatever, since I was very little. And I was like obsessed with the shuttle when I was a kid. And man, this is our where were you when it happened moment, right? I mean, for some people it's JFK, some people it's 9/11. And for our generation, and not just our generation, a lot of people, it's this, right? I mean, I remember where I was when Columbia, 9/11, all that too. But the documentary is outstanding. And if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you do, because if you think you know the whole story, I promise you, you do not. And you should see this. The other thing I thought was great is they interview a lot of the family members. So highly recommend it. Now, what you're seeing on the screen in front of you is an actual piece recovered of the Challenger space shuttle from STS-51L after it exploded just about 90 seconds after takeoff. And this is on display along with a piece of Columbia at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. And Ryan, you and I saw this, and we found it also to be particularly emotional moment, right? Remember that?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing for me, and this is another plug for Kennedy itself, is that the tour is amazing for space nerds, but the Hall of Heroes, I think it's called, it has memorials for every astronaut lost. It has the cockpit windows as another piece from the shuttle. It was hard. It was hard to walk through there for me.
It was. I agree. So, but if you get a chance, we don't have to go down sort of a sad trail here, but the documentary is extremely well done, and I highly recommend that you check it. Challenger, The Final Flight. Turn on Netflix, you'll see it. I mean, it's the trending like crazy, obviously.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. I do want to watch that. Let's talk about Microsoft Windows, which I wasn't expecting weeks in to take this kind of detour, but what are we looking at here?
So do you remember, this blew my mind away. So for those of you who are Windows users, Mac users, you can tune out for a couple minutes and just go check your tweets. But for those of us who are Windows users, this was a desktop wallpaper that came standard on thousands and thousands and thousands of Windows machines. That's it right there.
Yeah.
And this was one of the choices. And I always thought there's like an animated version of it. There's all kinds of versions of this, different colors. I always thought that this was a CGI image, and it's not. It's an actual window that they photographed. And Evan Kirstel shared that this week, and it just knocked my socks off. I mean, there you go. There it is, actually being filmed.
An actual window, yes.
An actual window, and I had no idea. And I was floored by that.
Well, we've discussed practical versus CGI effects from films and stuff. This warms my heart a little bit.
Yeah, it was interesting to find out the level of artistry and effort. I mean, look at that. There's like a team of people. There's all these different monitors. You can tell they're playing with angles and colors and smoke and everything to get it right. And they got it right. I mean, it's iconic. And I just didn't know.
Yeah. So shout out to Evan Kirstel. So Evan, if you don't follow Evan, like, he is an influencer like none other because, I mean, frankly, he's an expert in kind of the IoT health space in his day job, but the stories he shares in social just, oftentimes are really, really amazing stuff, amazing stories.
Yeah. Excellent follow.
So we're going to give a follow Friday for Evan and a shout out to our friend. All right, let's talk more about Dune.
So we talked about the Dune trailer last week, right? And you and I are both into it. I mean, I'm really excited about this film, but I wondered this week if Snapchat is planning to create a Fremen eyes filter to support the release of Dune, right? Now, as you remember, the Fremen have the blue within blue eyes. Yep. You saw that in the David Lynch film. Obviously, they talk about it in the book, and it's from exposure to the spice, pure, raw, unrefined, the spice. Oh, yeah. And so I'm just wondering, like, you see all these companion marketing campaigns and all these things that these social media companies do, and Zendaya is in it. Now, Zendaya has a following of millions and millions and millions and millions. I mean, she's a hugely popular artist actress and musician too, right? I think she's a musician too. I'm sorry if I don't know that. I mean, but anyway, 18 million.
18 million. I mean, I guess that's okay. I don't know.
I guess that's okay. I mean, it's not Week's End level, but she's getting there. And so I think people are going to want to emulate that. So I'm wondering if they're going to make a blue within blue filter. I mean, I don't know. What other filters could they make, Ryan? A sandworm filter?
Well, sure.
Spice filter?
What I liked about what DC Fandom did last weekend is I was playing around, and this is not a story. This is one of the stories I think that got cut from last week's show, but I'll bring it up. DC Fandom, of course, we covered the August virtual event. Last week, they had another series of new programming added. And the cool thing was they made the interactive stuff interactive as well. And they had filters that were for both Snapchat. Some were for Twitter and some were for Instagram. And the thing I like about the Instagram filters is that they're doing things like I was able to create like a Batman comic book and like touch parts of the screen to like place different selfies like within the environment. So it's a bit of a different thing. It wasn't like an AR type of thing, like what you're talking about. But it was more like I took like a snap of.
I saw that.
My wife, who begrudgingly like made her hair really big, like she was she was Poison Ivy. I was my ugly mug, and then we had our dog, who was like the Phantom Yorkie, and we made a silly little comic strip, which was
excuse me. Cool. Point of order: you were not your ugly self. You were the Squelch.
Oh, of course, and that's my superpower.
That's right. By the way, I came up with a new one this week. I decided another cool superhero would be somebody named Flight Speed, and their superpower is that they can fly at unlimited speed, and that they can also fly through solid objects. So, like, he could fly through or she could fly through the planet or fly through buildings. Like, you always see people flying at altitude or like avoiding cities. This person would be able to just go at any rate of speed, go right through. So Flight Speed, that was another character I came up with. Like you said, I got all these movies I want to make.
I like that. Well, here's why I like that. Because we talked about Dragon Con on last week's show.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned that if we're going to go, if we're going in 2021 and communing with what my wife likes to call my people, our people, then we will have to come up with several personas, several cosplays, several amazing ideas. So we got to keep them coming here. Like, we've got one dynamic duo. That's night one. That's like the first party. And then what? Right. So this is a great idea.
We're going to need a lot of latex. All right. Next.
Yes. I know somebody, and I have an importer-exporter. Do you want to be my latex salesman? Wasn't that like a Seinfeld?
I do. There was.
Okay. So cool stuff.
Latex salesman.
So we have a couple of more stories, and then we're done, man. We're enjoying the week in because week in is done. That's all right. Let's switch over and. Good Lord, how long have we been waiting for this to happen? Let's bring it up. Everybody, brace yourself. It is time for Mandalorian Season 2.
So right out of the gate, I like this because this opening scene is very reminiscent of the Earth Earthrise, seeing the Earth over the moon, which is like same angle, same shot, same everything. So I like that they're kind of playing with that.
Yeah.
I also noticed the ship is damaged. It's got like one of the engines is misfiring, but this just looks outstanding. I mean, and the whole show obviously is just the best.
Yep.
But this next season I think is going to be really, really exciting. I mean, my family's looking forward to it. Every second of this trailer looks great, and it's going to be very interesting. There's a couple of little Easter eggs in here too that I think are interesting, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So a couple things I wanted to say here was I was floored by the trailer. I've probably watched it a dozen times.
Same.
I like to listen to the music and the sounds in my daily meditation session already. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I like to also watch is there's a YouTuber by the name of, I hope I'm getting this right, Emergency Awesome. And what he does is this guy takes, trailers, movies, whatever, and of course, dissects them much better than we are, goes through every frame, talks about the Easter eggs, talks about all the, what the fans are saying, what the behind the scenes kind of secrets are. And what I learned and what I really like about this is that he was mentioning that Jon Favreau was talking about the inspiration, and you can go and watch on Disney Plus a lot of the they have a whole series about behind the scenes of Mandalorian on Disney Plus, which is incredible because it's all the directors. But what Emergency Austin was talking about was Favreau has hinted at the fact that season 1 was sort of built around the first act, if you will, of A New Hope. Just the first act. Like that was the vibe of it. And that was their linchpin. And they had something like 6-7 directors working on the season.
Oh,
so it was this huge team of like people from all different walks of life.
Interesting.
That were contributing to the series. And so that's why every episode felt like a movie, because it was like different people putting their spin on things. But the linchpin was that it was based on A New Hope, Act 1. This season is based on Empire.
And not based on, but like what they're going.
Well,
for,
it's
right?
Inspired by. So yes,
inspired by. So
when we say,
that's really, really interesting.
And there's lots of like, I don't know if you want to talk about too many spoilers, but there's talk of like Boba Fett might show up.
So the rumor that I heard, and this is not spoiler because it's in the trailer and it's very commonly talked about on social media, is that the scene where you see the speeder going away, that's Boba. Because the backpack is the same as the he wore.
Oh, right. Okay.
So what they're saying is there he is. Like, and now it's a brief flash, and you see it in the distance. But there's a lot of people who are guessing.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I'm clear here. Guessing that that's who that is.
Well, the one thing I love Emergency Awesome's videos. He said that he thought in that scene that he was trying to string together plot points. He was saying that he thought that the Mandalorian was definitely chasing that person because he was wearing he thought that Mando was wearing his new jetpack that he got at the end of season 1. I have to take issue with that, because how does a Mandalorian jetpack, from everything we know about Empire or whatever, how does a jetpack keep up with a speeder bike? It ain't happening. Sorry. You know what I mean?
Because isn't it more about like,
it's more about like combat or
combat and jumping.
It's more like superpowered jumps to like give yourself an advantage when you're engaging someone.
I mean, that was the way I always took it, but I guess we'll see.
So maybe we need to have a Geek Fest with this guy, Emergency Awesome, on he's a cool YouTuber. So go subscribe to him to see this and so much more. One more thing I want to say about this before we close out the show today. That's
it. That's all we have for the day.
Well, we might have a surprise here, but the last thing I want to say about this is just that I feel like this show has become such a cultural experience for everybody. But both, the Star Wars community is huge.
Oh, you mean Mandalorian? I thought you meant Week's End. I was like,
Oh
okay.
well, we're getting there, buddy. We're getting there. Okay. It's you know what it is. It's hard to find many fellow porg farmers. You know what I mean? But
It is.
anyhow, that's an inside joke we'll explain later. But with Mando, I think like we're gonna have to have some watch parties, man. Like things are different now.
I think you're right.
So
I would agree with that.
So look for that. We might have some special edition shows where we can commiserate with fellow nerds of all stripes. And I think we should do the same thing. The other show that I wanted to bring up to you that, we're not going to watch the trailer. You can go find it yourself. But I just watched the trailer for season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. And they are like every season they are like bringing new things into play.
I know. I need to watch it.
That are very like. I mean, they are swinging for the fences with that show. It's amazing.
I gotta watch it. No, you're right. I just checked. That's it. That's what we got for the day, man.
Yep. So, we're another week down. What are we like? We're less than 50 days from.
Well,
November 3rd.
Let's not go there.
Well, this is just our. This is just our suggestion. Take it however you want it. That you should register to vote.
You should.
Exercise.
Not just register to vote. Well, you should already be registered.
Well,
you need to make sure you have a plan.
Yes.
You know when and where you're voting. Where do you go? When are you going? Have you taken you may need 5 minutes. You could need the whole day. Do you have a plan? Are you ready to execute on that plan? So, I mean, like voting in this coming election needs thought. You don't wake up one morning and be like, oh yeah, I suppose I should go. Like, forget it. So are you mailing in your ballot? Are you not? Are you worried about the post office? Have you mailed it on time? Are you worried it won't make it? So you've got to have a plan, and you can follow either one of us, contact either one of us. I mean, I'm actually a poll worker here for the Massachusetts Elections Commission, and I'm happy to answer any questions at any time.
That's a good point. So, and my wife does the same thing. She's a poll worker as well. So that's a great point. Let's leave it at that. And depending on your state, also kind of plays into how the ballots work and how those things work. There's different procedures. So just educate yourself. It's easy to find. Always go. This is what I found. There's disinformation coming out. There's flyers coming out. Just go to your state's or your county's website. Don't go to anything else.
Voting in Massachusetts, voting in North Carolina. It'll come right up.
Don't go anywhere else but your state or county voter board website.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
1, 2, 3 easy instructions on how to do what you can do. And even if you think you're registered, I thought we weren't going to talk about this. Even if you think you're registered, you better double check, because a lot of people are finding that their district changed or they got bumped off the voter roll or whatever. So vote, people, vote.
Great
All right.
advice, Ryan.
All right. Well, that is our show. Let's do a quick reminder about some housekeeping from the top. So first of all, first ever Weeks In fan contest. Guess the ships on my shirt. We're going to post a high-res picture. Go follow SuperSeven store on Twitter, and you can win this deluxe collector's edition 1,000-piece Star Wars puzzle. And I'm going to give another shameless plug for the Weeks In house band, otherwise known as Dead Bourgeoisie. We're going to try to get them to change their name to Dead Bougie so it's easier to spell, but
I would say so.
Check them out on Instagram. They're rocking hard, and artists just trying to find a way in this world.
Love it. Absolutely.
Thanks, Graham, for joining Weeks In. Thanks to all of you.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week on Weeks In.
Weeks In. Show's over.